Hey everybody, welcome back to the Outcomes Rocket here at HIMSS 2024. I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest today. Her name is Brittany Cassin. She's the CEO and co-founder of DigiCARE Realized. Brittany, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me here at HIMSS 2024 in Orlando.
Yeah, and you know what? Great to finally meet you. We've been sort of having discussions. We had Malaz on the podcast, Dr. Boustani, your co-founder.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we finally got a chance to connect.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's been fun. So let's kick it off, Brittany.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about DigiCARE Realized and a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So DigiCARE Realized, we are a health tech, but what we're focused in is AI-powered early detection for Alzheimer's disease and related dementia. And right now, I think it's such a critical time when we really start to think about brain health and a lot of diseases, such as different forms of dementia, and how we can really modernize them because they impact so many people, especially what we start to see in communities of color. So a little bit about myself, and I think it's kind of fun given the fact that you know Malaz, and I love the fact that you use Malaz because Malaz is one of those individuals that I think once you meet him, you know, he very quickly moves from Dr. Boustani to a really amazing trailblazer in brain health. But one of the things I'll share with you is a little bit of an origin story that I think is a little bit different. But you know, when you look at Malaz's work, I know you talked to him about the guide model. One of the things that he has been very focused on his entire career in practicing medicine has really been around dementia care, delirium, and depression. And one of the things, and you can ask him, you know, he's been very successful in getting like NIH funded grants. He's very well respected in the Alzheimer's community. But one of the things that I think, you know, to share with you was that his very own family was impacted by dementia. And candidly, he missed it. And I think that that little bit of humility is what gives him that fire in the belly to be like, wow, you know what? Everyday people can miss this, and even trained people can miss this. So how can we use a meaningful application when it comes to AI and really modernize and help providers be able not do a better job, but actually make sure that we can close the blind spots so they're really able to then identify those individuals so they can get to the next best step in care. So I share that story with you because I think as when you look at a founding team, you want to have the experts on your team. But I think what changes and what's at the heart of DigiCARE Realize is these lived experiences, you know, that really start to shape the why we're doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Brittany. And thanks for sharing that story. And I know there's a lot of people out there watching and listening to this that could relate. And I'm sure there's other stories out there. You're not alone out there. This stuff is happening. And solutions like DigiCARE Realize are really bringing these types of issues with brain health to the forefront. Brittany, you're here at HIMSS. So tell us why you're here and what one insight has really risen to the top for you thus far in the meeting.
Oh, gosh, great question. You know, the reason why I'm here is when you start to think about what HIMSS is all about, you know, it really is right now, especially with AI, is how can we be responsible in the implementation? How can we build solutions that build trust? And we're hearing a lot of importance of having the right governance in place. But where it hits home for me is really more around being intentional and the meaningful application. So the thing that really resonated with me, and again, I think this is probably, you know, the fact I'm from New Jersey, but I was really excited to see Robert Garrett, the CEO of Hackensack Meridian Health, on stage. But what he talked about was the World Economic Forum and those driving principles of what AI can do. And what he centered on was really around not the glitz and glamour of AI, but what he centered on the power of what it can do. And being able to close gaps in care, being able to improve patient outcomes, you know, really address health equity issues, these start to become meaningful applications. And so being here, what I get excited about is seeing what is important from a data security, infrastructure, governance standpoint when it comes to the data that we work with day in, day out. But more importantly, it's what we're doing with that data and how we're looking to really address the problems that we're seeing when it comes to delivering equitable healthcare in Alzheimer's disease or in general. So you asked me in the beginning a personal question, like a little bit more about my own story. Yeah. And one of the things that I'll share with you is I often think about my own grandmother. She was Spanish only speaking. So unless her doctor spoke Spanish, she wouldn't get a cognitive assessment that day. And so when you start to look at how dementia impacts different communities of color, we do know it's higher. It's about 2 times that of African Americans versus white Americans, and 1.5 when it comes to Hispanics. And I think when you're in this space of healthcare or even health technologies, it is humbling, like the story that I shared about Malaz, but it's like all of a sudden you're going through your day-to-day, but then it hits you and you're like, wow, these statistics, not my family. And then you're like, oh no, it is. And so being able to, I think, again, use these technologies to close gaps in care really kind of excites me, and how I can find other innovators that are doing similar things is kind of what I get excited about HIMSS in general.
Totally. And there's so many opportunities to collaborate. So if you're watching this, and something that Brittany said resonates with you, by all means, reach out, collaborate, and do something about it. Because in the end, that's how we make a difference. Brittany, what call to action would you leave our listeners and viewers today? And what's the best place they could get in touch with you?
Yeah. So I think the biggest call to action really starts to be sharing everyone's lived experience. I think it doesn't really matter what your day-to-day role is, but we all have these different experiences, and how can you really start to pull that into what we do to really make impacts? And again, I think it can be around what are we able to do to improve patients' outcomes if we're in healthcare? What are we able to do to ensure that we're building equitable solutions for all communities, not just maybe the typical communities that have access to healthcare? I often think about rural environments, but I think even sometimes when we come home from work, we are everyday people. And I think also being able to have a healthy brain conversation about brain health or some of these complex brain diseases really is the first start in us being able to have a healthier perspective and reduce stigma around some of these diseases that can be very isolating. So I think that kind of covers a lot of things. And obviously, if there's anyone that's interested in your audience to explore or collaborate on our technology, and again, we're looking at different health systems to work with. And the way that our system really works is that we're able to deploy our technology and comb through patient health records using machine learning. And so we are able to provide health systems with patient level data and aggregate level data in understanding or recognizing those individuals that haven't been recognized in their system. And we're able to do that with about 80% performance accuracy with a 1-year prediction horizon. And now we're creating the time to make those interventions. And we're also creating a different way to break through barriers that I mentioned, like my grandmother. So definitely take a look at us on DigiCARERealized.com, or I am on LinkedIn. So give a follow and reach out.
Thank you so much, Brittany. And folks, in the show notes, we will leave all the ways to get in touch with Brittany and the DigiCARE Realized team. Take advantage of it. Now's the time to make strides in this area of brain health. Brittany, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.